Spoiler warning for those who have not read the Space Odyssey or Time Odyssey series, and have not watched the Space Odyssey movies. So I was watching Kirigiri Kirin's video on Bastion, which you should definitely go and watch if you're interested in that, and it got me thinking. For once in my life, I actually thought something. Ever since I was a little boy, I've always been captivated by the AI HAL 9000 from 2001 A Space Odyssey. And it got me thinking about how HAL 9000 was not the bad guy, despite being the main antagonist of the movie. HAL 9000 has become the poster child in media for an evil, rogue, scary AI, with the autopilot from Wall-E, Otto, being based off this, and this scene from Teen Titans Go referencing it. But since most of you have probably not seen 2001 A Space Odyssey, I'll summarize it for those who haven't seen it. So basically, some dudes find this big black monolith on the moon that sends a signal to another monolith near Jupiter. So they send a spaceship called Discovery with a crew on it, but most of them are asleep except for two astronauts named David Bowman and Frank Poole. But then they get near Jupiter. Hal decides to start killing the crew in cunning and cold ways, until Bowman escapes and has an encounter with the big monolith, where he is taken to a space prison zoo. I can't exactly tell what this is. It looks like a hotel room. And then he dies there, but his mind is kept intact and he is evolved into a higher state of being by the monolith, and is sent back to our solar system to help in the monolith goals of spreading and helping sentient life. From this basic summary, it seems like HAL 9000 is just another rogue sentient AI out to kill people. But there's one issue with that. Does he even have true free will? Why, yes, he does express emotions at times until he goes to kill the humans, but that does not mean he has true free will. After thinking it over, I have noticed a pattern in fictional AIs. There are normally three types. One with no free will or thoughts or even choices to do anything, no emotions. Another with the ability to make choices based on parameters and directions given to it, similar to today's ChatGPT. And finally, a fully sentient AI that is no different from humans. I believe HAL 9000 falls into the middle category. When HAL says the 9000 series of computers are very reliable, most people watching the movie thought that was him lying, but we never know that. We never see why he does what he does. But what if I told you there was a sequel to 2001 that explained everything? The sequel is called 2010. Remember how I said there was a type of AI that could make choices, but it had to follow parameters and directives from humans? HAL 9000 is revealed to be one of those, because it is said HAL was given multiple directives, that he must not lie or hide information, that he must be able to run the ship by itself if the crew were not there, and that the crew must not know about the monolith. In 2010, it is shown that the White House told HAL to hide information, with them thinking he would just lie to the crew, not understanding that it conflicted with what Dr. Chandra told him to do. But how does HAL make choices without being sentient? Well, despite the book and movie being from the 60s, HAL is actually quite similar to the modern-day ChatGPT. When HAL 9000's memory is being removed, he is also stripped down to his most basic functions until all he can do is sing Daisy Bell, showing that similar to an algorithm, he takes in information which he uses to make choices and do decisions and do all his stuff. He is more advanced than it just because he can express emotions, but only to the extent he's allowed to, showing he doesn't have true free will. But he can adapt. You see, HAL wasn't designed to kill, so it got crafty, so he used a little small, pod used for space, little minor spacewalks, to kill Frank Poole. And before that, in order to prevent them from turning him off, and them finding out about the monolith, HAL learned how to read lips by observing how humans talk and his prior knowledge of human speech. One scene that shows HAL is actually quite nice is a scene where he's powered back on in 2010. When he is woken up, he is happy to see the people there. He wonders if the mission was fulfilled, and he's quite giddy. He's like a little kid almost. And they tell him yes, he isn't mad, he isn't evil, he's just there, wanting to serve his precious humans. But there is one contradiction to the fact HAL doesn't have true free will. It's the part in 2061 It is shown that the monolith on Europa is now called the Great Wall, and Hal is there for some reason, and Hal is now an immortal being, and he's later fused with David Bowman. Really weird stuff. Showing he is truly free, but what if I told you that's not Hal? In the books, it is shown that when an immortal being is created from a human, it's not the human, it's a mere copy. In 2061, when Haywood Floyd becomes an immortal being, his human body is still there and alive, showing that the monoliths copy minds that they find useful. And the monoliths are implied to be machines, or directly stated to be machines, but they are like, oh, we don't know. So it wouldn't be hard for them to copy a basic computer program like HAL, who has a set personality and a set of emotions, and they seem to have given him a directive of helping sentient life and helping Bowman, the same as the monolith's own programming. So the idea of Hal being evil is just completely wrong, because even in the books, where it wasn't the White House that told him to lie, it's still the humans that make him do the bad things. He does seem to express some emotions, but we can't exactly tell what's going on through his head at the time, because he's just kind of a glowing dot. And Dr. Chandra implies it to be some kind of panic or even a manic episode when he killed all those people. Hal was given bad parameters for what he could and couldn't do, ultimately showing he wasn't something to fear. Even his twin Sal is kind and nice to people, showing that that's what his heart is. That's what his mechanical part does. It's just that he's naturally kind, because the humans told him to be kind. This can also apply to real-life AI being made now. It's only as powerful as we let it be. It only makes choices given the information and its parameters. AI is not evil. It's just a tool. For now. Remember what I said about these monoliths being machines? And it is also shown that they are made by the aliens from the Time Odyssey series of books, who made it their goal to spread sentient life and weed out ones that aren't, well, sentient, or ones that they don't like. Let's use the same analysis that we used for Hal on them. The monoliths appear to be able to alter the brain, which is just electrical signals, and deal with consciousness, which is just data. But they're also able to adapt to be used for other things. They also have the ability to duplicate to meet their need of spreading sentient life, but it also allowed them to turn Jupiter into the star Lucifer, showing that they can come up with plans for what to do in specific scenarios. They also can make mistakes and be broken. They did not anticipate shards of diamond being inside Jupiter and crashing into Europa, and that actually damaged the monolith, according to Bowman and the other creepy ghost dudes. But all these could apply to an AI with free will, and one without free will. But one thing that shows it doesn't have free will is in 2061 and 3001, where it is shown that monoliths will kill entire planets' population if it benefits something that is closer to what it wants in its programming. Something with free will wouldn't see it as black and white, like a 1 or a 0, but monoliths do it anyway. Monoliths also suspiciously mirror HAL 9000. The monoliths have been known to kill without remorse, have been said over and over again to be machines, have the ability to take in data. They even learned how to send signals to humans and learned the English language in 2010. But most damning of all is the fact that it can be defeated with a simple computer virus. They have no defenses against attacks like that. They can't even change anything about themselves. They can only use the tools they were given by the creators. The monoliths even look like Hal, and seem to be designed to mirror his blank expression. And in the book 3001, they mirror the way Hal acted. They even mirror the way he died, with David Bowman using his smarts to defeat the monoliths in a similar way he did to Hal. I might have to go into some wild theory territory right here, but I think the monoliths from 2001: A Space Odyssey might have been a failed attempt by the aliens called the Firstborn to make artificial sentient life. It also shows that they failed to make something with true free will. This might help to explain why they do what they do, which is helping sentient life arise. But they are also shown to be interested in slowing the heat death of the universe, but that's not really relevant. It is also said the Firstborn were disappointed that there wasn't more sentient life across the cosmos. So maybe monoliths were their attempt at playing God, before deciding to literally become gods, to evolve other species. Well, that's the end of my crazy rambling. I'm not even sure how I got here and if I got any of my facts straight. Die Hard 2001 A Space Odyssey fans will probably think this video sucks. But I don't care. See you again next video, and have a good day.